Who will be the audience for your media product? The main audience for our film would be those who watch horror films, as well as people who enjoy a good and original narrative within the film. The age group we will be targeting is 5 to 15 to 30. This is the age group that will be most interested in our film, so my group decided that it would be a good idea to market to this audience specifically. Firstly, the main objective would be to bring in people who are fans of the horror genre already, as this will be the main group of people who will see the film. When creating the film, we were careful that we didn't push the genre too much, as people generally want to watch something that they're familiar with. However, we ensured that we did in some aspects go against the conventions of a horror, as we didn't want our film to be boring or cliché. One of the ways we catered for this audience is adding in conventions such as the zombie aspect. We felt as if adding an initial antagonist who would cater for this audience hugely, as they can expect something which they're comfortable with and they would have seen before. However, we did add a huge twist within this antagonist, as the conventional character type has been twisted so that the zombies are intelligent and sentient beings that have a conscience, despite what the government has told the people within the film. This twist makes the film interesting to even the most hardened horror genre fans, as it's going to be refreshing to them, as it's a theme which hasn't really been developed in the past. This combination of putting a new spin on a timeless classic is something which we really thought about in pre-production, and something that we're really passionate that will be successful. We then move on to people who are not really fans of the horror genre. We're catering for this group of people as we have developed a thoroughly refreshing and interesting narrative. More than being a film full of jump scares and tension-filled scenes, the film my group created as a hugely captivating narrative, one which brings the genre out of the stereotype of gory yet lacklustre horror films. We feel that as the story is very original, we will bring in an audience regardless of whether the audience are horror fans or not. I truly believe that this film has the potential to be a blockbuster. This is uncommon in horror films, as many people shy away from them, but I believe that this problem won't affect us simply due to the narrative and the fact that we do have a good story behind this film. The age group we will be interested in targeting is 15 to 30-year-olds. This is because after some extensive research in pre-production, we found that this is the age group that is more interested in horror films. This age group are those who use the cinema the most, as between these ages people are more likely to go to the cinema as a social event. We cater for this audience by making the main protagonist in this age group of 15 to 30. People like films which they can relate to, so ensuring that the protagonist is within the age group of the target audience gives the film a much better chance of being successful, as the audience are more likely to be able to empathise with the protagonist. This is especially important within the horror genre, as it is of utmost importance that a link is created between the audience and the character, as the aspect of horror films which makes them the most scary and the most thrilling is being able to place yourself in the situation that the character is in within a certain scene. One thing we lacked when catering for an audience is class. The protagonist is within the middle class, which is slightly above the working class. The working class being the main viewers of horror films statistically. This is true because of the thrill that a horror film can entail is something which is sought after by the working class in a stereotypical sense. The working class is statistically less educated than those classes above them, which makes regular horror films, where the narrative isn't too difficult to understand, more interesting to them. They use films for uses such as escapism. An aspect which we could have improved on is having the main character as a working class man rather than a middle class man. But we felt that having a middle class man would be more valuable to the narrative, a discussion which we put a lot of thought into, and we just thought it's going to be generally a better idea to stick to the narrative. Statistically, it's males that watch horror films the most. Again, this target audience is catered for by the fact that the main character is a male character. However, we felt that making this film a male-dominated one would have a huge impact on the amount of people that are going to watch the film, as I think if we just made it a film about males, the female audience would not want to come and see it. We combated this by having a very good narrative, which stereotypically is something which females are going to enjoy more. It is well believed that Gothic themes, which are obviously going to be placed in our horror, are things that are appreciated by females more. Now, this might be a stereotype, but it's something which I feel is going to be real in real life. So, we ensured that in our treatment, we included plenty of strong female characters to ensure that there isn't an offset in the gender balance. This will ensure that as many people as possible will watch our film, which is obviously going to be the main goal we're going to want to sell.